Hey everyone, another Monday evening, another Living Force, and you're here, which means it's great. We're talking tonight about all things 2022. We got a lot of books coming this year. We want you to be ready because, you miss one pre-order, then you miss two, then you miss seven, and then it's 2023. You know it's going to happen. We got the full gang here, only a little bit of news, and a whole lot of books. We are so excited to get started. But in order to do that, Wes, over in Texas, where it's warmer than here, needs to get ready. He needs to get set. He needs to continue. Punch it! Hello, everyone! Welcome to the Living Force, a UTD Network podcast all about the Star Wars books of 2022. I'm one of your hosts, Eric Eilerson, and joining me tonight to celebrate all things adult, young adult, junior readers, and more is the full cast of characters, starting with the Doctor, the Corey, the Hylton. What's up, Betty?
The Corey. I'm the
Corey. Like the Finn, yeah.
The Corey. The Finn. Yep, that's what I was going for. That was the reference I was going for. I'm doing good. Doing good, man. I'm glad to be here. You know, some days I just think about Monday nights and I'm like, I'm glad it's Monday night. That's it. That's all I got.
All right, folks, we have at least it's fine.
You heard it here
Corey.
first. At least it's fine.
At least it's fine. But what may be more than fine, we shall see in a moment, is the new lighting, even though he changed nothing, of Dr. Charles Hankel. What's up, dude?
I changed nothing. This is a natural glow. And ironically, I was just saying, when we watched that intro video with us from like 2 years ago, I've aged poorly. Guys, that was me in the light of the Jedi, and now I am the fallen star.
Residency does that to you, man.
It's tough.
It just shaves off the years.
It is rough, but luckily, who already started with more years than all of us still looks the same. It's Wes Jenkins.
Hello. Good to be everyone.
Incredible.
I mean, holy hell. Really getting treated poorly on this show. But I did finally get my book in. So,
oh my God.
All right. Got a whole 7 days to finish it. Can't wait.
That's right. Yes, Wes is correct for all of you watching and listening. Get ready. Our Fallen Star Roundtable is next week. It'll be next Monday night, live on the show, and of course, in your podcast feeds later. But like everything else, it doesn't matter that a roundtable's coming up because there's already another book being released. Welcome to Star Wars, everyone. That's right. Tomorrow, February 1st, we get our second month of the year. We also get our next Star Wars release, which is right here next to me. It is Daniel Jose Older's Midnight Horizon. Just like with every other Star Wars book release, a Utini review will be on the website and will be on the YouTube channel. I believe we're setting a premiere for 12 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, so if you want to watch that, be sure to stay tuned. But for all of you that are watching live tonight, we wanted to give a little special treat. Also, if you're watching, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. That always helps us. But we want to say thank you for coming tonight. We want to share with you our rating for Midnight Horizon. If you don't want to know the rating, just take a minute, 30 seconds starting right now, and then we'll come back. But Wes, if you wouldn't mind, bring up that slide showing our rating for Midnight Horizon. Look at that sweet boy.
Is that real? 9.7?
9.7. Our review team was, for the first time, unanimous on a rating system. For those of you that don't know, in our rating system, we combine a bunch of different ratings from people on the team, and we try to give an accurate score. This one, everyone that participated, 9.7s across the board. This novel is fantastic. Full review, again, releases tomorrow. If you want to see my written thoughts and Nathan's thoughts on the video team, this is a special one. So if you were lucky enough to get it early, because apparently Walmart's and Barnes & Noble's had just been putting it out the last week, they're good for you. And if not, I hope you get it tomorrow and really just have a great time. So yeah, fellas, 9.7 is where you're heading, as far as we go, at least.
Very high. It's high. It's very high. That's exciting. That's exciting. I'm excited for this one to come out. I looked on Audible the other day for it because I was just going to pre-order it because I had a credit. I won't pre-order video games, but I will pre-order books.
Smart man.
But
Smart man.
It was not on Audible. Have you guys seen it yet?
This has been a thing they've talked about on Twitter, and DJO did talk about this on Twitter, that with the young adult books, for some reason, it must be either a Disney Lucasfilm audio thing, because Penguin Random House Audio doesn't always produce the young adults. They only produce the Del Reys.
Oh, that's true.
So they sometimes do not go up on Audible, even as a listing, until day of release. So there is one out. There is one coming. But for all of you like Corey that likes to listen on an audiobook, just check tomorrow in the morning on February 1st, and Midnight Horizon should be there for you to spend that sweet, sweet credit. Sweet.
Del Rey or Lucasfilm Press, whoever's listening, I am in the market to leave medicine. If you would like me to solve all of these problems for you, I would be happy to. Reach me at my email.
What a pitch.
So, Corey, what do you do? Oh, I just schedule the releases. That's it.
That's it. Nothing of value. Let's be clear.
I send the MP3s to Audible, and up it goes.
That's right.
But yeah, so that is a little preview for y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight, and we hope you enjoy the book as much as we did. But of course, that roundtable will be a month from now when we'll be talking about that. Whereas next week is all about the Fallen Star. Needless to say, as far as we're concerned on our review team, and hopefully for you all, Wave 3 is ending in a really magnificent way. It's capping off Phase 1 of the High Republic really, really strong before we head into Phase 2 in October. All right, next we want to say thank you to a couple of wonderful people that are on our Patreon, on our Utini Patreon, where you get the extra content, you get the commentaries, you get the other podcasts like Star Wars Archives a little bit earlier than everybody else. And we want to say thank you to Adam, who switched to an annual patron instead of a monthly. We thank you so much. Our annual patrons really, really help us plan out our year financially. We know for a year what kind of numbers we'll have, so we can invest in new software and new equipment and keep the site going. So thank you for that. And we also thank Nathan Roberts, who became a monthly patron. Thank you so much. We hope you were both enjoying all the extra goodies. A new episode of Ghost Crew with me and Charlie just went up last week, where we're talking about our good buddy Saw Gerrera in Season 3. So make sure to check that out if you haven't. And fun fact, everyone, we promised you things, and we made the things. These things were a Rogue One video commentary, and when we were in Asheville together, we watched the film, and we recorded a full commentary for the duration of it. And guess what happened? Corey, what happened?
I don't want to talk about it.
The audio sucked. The audio is unusable.
I have to talk about it? It's unusable. The audio is...
We're sorry. We tried something.
It's butt. The audio is butt. Like, straight up.
Yep.
There's nothing good about it. We tried a new microphone, and we tried a new setup and experimented a little bit, and we watched it back, and tested it, and tried to make sure it was all going to work and everything, and it sounded fine in my crappy MacBook Air speakers. When I went back to listen to it with, studio headphones to do all the edit and all that kind of stuff, it's not good, guys. It clips like crazy. The movie is all mixed in with the audio. It's a disaster. I worked on it for about 2 hours and tried to make it work, and it's not going to work. And guys, I'm sorry to say, we have to watch Star Wars again, man. I can't believe it.
Come on.
Man,
we're gonna lose all those hot takes. So
I know, hot takes. Listen, I'm
Sorry,
happy to
some
watch
comments
Rogue
will
One
die.
again.
Some comments will die with that commentary. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, is
Absolutely
that the one that
true.
I yelled the thing at that I wasn't supposed to yell, and everyone just didn't say anything? Is that when?
Yeah, that's vague enough.
Yep. All right, that sounds good.
all in all, we will say for our patrons, we did not want you to have a commentary that you honestly couldn't understand or couldn't enjoy fully, because these are thank yous for your patronage and thank yous for what you do to help us out. So we will be re-recording that at its full value, and that will be out as soon as we can. We thank you for your patience on that. You're all awesome. Now, speaking of people that are especially awesome, we had a Patron of the Week segment this week that's a little different, because this isn't a patron, but this is someone very, very special that wrote into our show and our site. And Corey, you brought this to us this week in our Cantina or general Slack channels, and it really, really hit you in a special way. So who do we want to honor and call out this week for kind of just being really awesome?
Yeah, I got an email from a young fan this week, and this is Ellis. We had an email from Ellis. And Ellis reminds me a lot of a younger version of myself, is what I said.
In a good way. In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. Yeah. Essentially, they said they love the show. They love what Utini does. They really wish that we could do some stuff directed towards kids, which is really like made all kinds of gears turn in my head and lots of folks' head on the team. And it was just a really nice message to hear that somebody's out there that watches us with their parents and that sort of thing. And it's cool, man. It's cool to make an impact because I was that kid, like at 12 that it sounds like they have supportive parents that are like all on board with the Star Wars thing. And that's awesome to like be able to experience Star Wars with your kids. It's like my dream, right? As a father is to be able to do that. And I don't know. It's cool to see that kids are still discovering the books. They're still using Star Wars as a bridge to reading, and it's a lot of fun. So Ellis, shout out for the email. It was really cool, and keep reading, man.
Yeah, keep on keeping on. And like in Elsa's email, they said that, they're the host of their own Star Wars podcast and they're working on it and like keep creating, and that's one of the fun things. Like this thing that we do with each other made us like the best of friends. And that was one of the coolest things and has brought us this community. So whatever you're creating now, keep going. And whether you get tired and take a break, that's fine. Keep creating later on, or just keep this thing going for years and years and years. Like when I was in college, I was lucky enough to make a lot of podcasts that no one ever heard and no one will ever find again because I was just experimenting. But it's awesome that you are at a younger age and are already passionate about something to make these things that incorporate these books and the universe that you love so much. So thank you for listening, man. You're awesome. So excited to see what you create in the future. And when we're all old and busted, I can't wait for you to take over this space and do it way better than we ever did. So keep on rocking, Ellis. Thank you so much. Wesley, hit us with the Star Wars Weekly Roundup. Hit it!
It's the Star Wars Weekly Roundup.
I used your full name there. I didn't like it. I'm sorry. It felt...
Only Charles can say that.
I know. I was like, eh.
He prefers Wesley or Farm Boy.
Farm Boy.
Yeah, well,
guess what, Farm Boy? It's happening. We have just one bit of news to tell you about this week, but it comes in 3 parts because we had one big announcement this week, I think like the day after last week's show, that we found out that Respawn, the company that brought us Jedi Fallen Order, the video game that all of us pretty much loved despite getting stuck on Zepho for 83 years of our lives, is currently making 3, count them, 3 Star Wars video games, including 1, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, that is just Jedi something. So it's officially the Jedi series. It probably won't be called Fallen Order 2, but that's exciting because it branches out. We have a first-person shooter that's coming with the executive producer of the OG Battlefront games working on it. And 3, we have a strategy game with Bit Reactor, which is a studio with folks who made, I don't know, these little indie games called Civ and XCOM. So, fellas, we all play various degrees of video games on this team. What were your initial reactions to us getting 3 freaking new Star Wars games in the pipeline?
It was subtle. I mean, this was like a kind of like an investor announcement in a lot of ways, right? Like
totally.
It wasn't like a huge announcement. These are the games we're releasing. This is just like, hey, these games are on our radar and that sort of thing. But this strategy game by Bit Reactor, that is very exciting. I went through a big Civilization phase last year. A bunch of my buddies were all playing Civilization all the time. like I'm actually like super burned out on it right now. If they message me or like, hey, let's play some Civilization, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not playing that with you guys anymore. Like, I'm tired of it, man, because you start a game and then you play for 4 hours and you've made no progress whatsoever into the game, and then the next time you get together, one of those guys is missing, so you have to start a new game. You
gotta set an alarm for 3 a.m. so you can take your turn. It's like, sorry, honey, I gotta go do a thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly how it is.
I'm real excited for this.
Yeah.
Listen, Civilization, that aside, those games are friggin' phenomenal. And this is Bit Reactor is a I think isn't Bit Reactor a new developer, right?
Yeah. The people on the teams of Civ and XCOM made this company. Like they came off and split off.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never heard of Bit Reactor.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty new. I don't think they don't have a game out yet. Like it's a new game company, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm super
Googling.
pumped for this first person shooter because that's all I play. Really
Yeah.
happy about that. And then
me too.
sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. I mean, we threw up Jedi Fallen Order multiple times on Utini game nights, and I saw Dr. Lupo, a game streamer. He just ran through it for the first time last week and had 4,500 people watching him do it. So, hey, come one, come all. We do it too,
Yeah, we'll take 30. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder, is that going to be we don't know if it's a direct sequel, if it's like some concurrent story. Like we really don't have any of that information
whatsoever.
No,
So
I feel like making it not Cal Kestis would be a mistake, only because I feel like his story had a very clear, and then the next part will happen at the end of Fallen Order.
Yeah.
But I am excited that it's the Jedi series because that just opens them up to expand past Cal, go to different eras. If it's just Star Wars Jedi blank, it's just any time where there's Jedi, which is any time ever.
And now Respawn is not EA too, to be clear, right?
Yeah, so EA lost. EA pays for some stuff. EA and Respawn had a relationship, but the EA exclusivity contract is now waning. So Respawn is acting in their own interests, I believe, and this, they were the ones that were behind Titanfall 2, and then they moved on to Jedi Fallen Order, and now they're going on to Jedi blank. And I believe, I don't have the article with me, so call me out in the chat if I'm wrong about this. They're also involved somewhat with the first-person shooter, which makes me very excited because Titanfall 2 is one of the most slept-on first-person shooters of the last 10 years. And I think it's the most fun with the multiplayer and the campaign. So if we get another FPS, that's just... I want you to read that in a second.
God.
I was going to say, if we get another game that's just a 4-hour campaign and total multiplayer, like Battlefront, I'm all in. Corey, what was just making you giggle for our audio listeners?
Keep it in.
He's going. We're losing him.
We're laughing at this comment from Blue Pig in the chat. It says it'd make most sense if Cal Kestis.
Come on, you can do
it.
it.
No, you gotta say it.
We're not gonna help you.
Yeah, we're gonna let you walk this dog across the street. Get your ass back in your seat.
Corey has left the chat.
Blue Pig said, "It make most sense if Cal Kestis just dies in an Imperial prison." That's it.
Oh,
Jesus
tough
Christ,
take.
bro.
You just play that game.
I don't know if that's
Oh,
like
God.
a bad take or not. Like it's just hilarious.
It'd be
Like,
something.
That's the end. Like the storytellers, somebody asked somebody in some formal panel 5 years from now, like whatever happened to Cal Kestis? He was in that video game. We all loved it. It kicked off this whole new era of Star Wars game. Oh, he died in prison.
Died of old age in prison.
That's it. That's canon. Next question.
Amazing. Well, we will see if in fact that's what happens. But of course, as our record to record says in the chat, let's be clear, Lego Star Wars, still the best, still coming out this April. And as far as I know, none of these games have a playable Bail Organa yet, so Lego Star Wars is supreme.
God.
Playable Bail Organa.
Playable Bail. If you're like me, when these get announced, make sure you get your pre-orders in. If you're like Corey, distrust the capitalist machine and wait for the reviews.
That's right. Don't pre-order games. It's bad for the industry. Don't do it.
But you know what you should pre-order is books. And you should go to the
Right.
Utini release schedule and pre-order a couple things you got coming up in the next few weeks. Of course, we got Midnight Horizon coming out tomorrow. If you're watching this by now and you didn't pre-order, you're just ordering now. You can still just order it. But if you just want to pre-order, you should check out The High Republic Adventures Volume 2. The second trade paperback is coming out February 22nd with some of the characters from Midnight Horizon. Then The High Republic Tempest Runner. That's hard. The script book is coming out on March 1st, the script book for the audio drama, and The High Republic Mission to Disaster, the junior novel or the middle grade novel from Justina Ireland, comes out on March 3rd. Thank you, as always, to our lovely, lovely Frank, who is rolling with all these constantly changing release dates. If you check out the utini.com release schedule, it is updated every day as best we can. So if you want to know when things are coming out, that's the place to go. All right, Charles, we got 2 lovely book reviews because people are still reading books. Who'd have thunk?
That's my cue. Yes, people are still reading books. People are reading new books, old books, all the books in between. And Lando, in particular, just read The Fallen Star by Claudia Gray, gave it 5 stars, and has titled the review, "The High Republic Remains Undefeated, Much Like the Nile." Bum, bum, bum. Lando goes on to say, Claudia Gray is a well-known and loved author in the pantheon of Star Wars creators, having written classics in the new canon timeline. After Into the Dark, her first novel in the High Republic Initiative, I was a bit taken aback by how much I didn't love that book. I thought perhaps Gray didn't shine so much in writing original characters and stories as she did in pre-established characters and timelines. The Fallen Star gave me that confidence in her again, as she brings us yet another masterpiece in not only her bibliography, but in the High Republic Initiative as a whole. First time in Utini history, the words pantheon and bibliography have been used in a review. Lando goes on to say, this initial trilogy, Phase 1, is presumed to be the first in a trilogy of trilogies. By the end of this book, you understand how all of these seemingly massive events, the Great Hyperspace Disaster, the attack on the Republic Fair, and now the sabotage of the Starlight Beacon are all just the first steps in the greater plan by the Eye of the Nile, Markian Row. While both Light of the Jedi and the Rising Storm felt very quick-paced and in your face, the Fallen Star aims to achieve a different kind of shock and terror than the sudden and surprising disasters of the previous two books. Impending doom. Starlight Beacon becomes the Star Wars equivalent of the Titanic. Very early on, we and the characters know that Starlight is done for. It's just a matter of time and a matter of how many people can be saved. Add to that the mysterious creatures that Markian has been using to petrify Jedi in both the Rising Storm and the High Republic comics. This book is brutal. Death and destruction reign as the Nile claim another victory. Stellan, Elzar, Bell, and the crew of the vessel really shine in this book. I was a bit disappointed in the lack of Avar Kriss, though she is sprinkled throughout, but once finishing the book, I understood why it chose to focus primarily on characters within Starlight Beacon, because nobody outside can really do anything to benefit those on the inside. This book will rip your heart out early on and then start ripping out anything else it can find to rip out.
Awesome.
Process that one.
That is
Go for it.
visceral. Until you can get to the end where you feel like there's almost nothing left. And while it hurt, I could not put it down, and I read it in 2 days. I have no clue how to rank the 3 High Republic novels, but I don't think I really need to. Well, thank you, Lando. Goodness. I think that's a great introduction, a great kind of teaser for the upcoming roundtable that we have. We probably will rank those books. We will also discuss all the things that have been ripped out of us by Claudia Gray, and we'll have fun. Anyways, Wes, you want to read what Moonflyer has to say?
Absolutely. And who'd have thunk it? I've read this book. So Moonflyer has reviewed Darth Bane: Path of Destruction. Legends Look Back is doing a trilogy of roundtables, I guess, on Darth Bane. So check that out on Thursdays. So Darth Bane: Path of Destruction, Essential Legends Collection by Drew Karpyshyn. 5 stars. I agree. Once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. I had always heard so many good things about it, but I was hesitant to pick up a book that was purely about the dark side. It just did not interest me. I understand the Revenge of the Sith novelization is in my same boat. Okay.
Shut up.
I finally picked it up when it got re-released as part of the Essential Legends collection with some sick new cover art. This was the last book on Utini's Foundational 5 that I had not read yet, and I finally decided to see what it was all about. The book begins with Dez, a Cortosis miner, and a series of events that send him on a journey that culminates in a series of events and decisions in his life that lead him to the Sith and the dark side as he leaves a path of destruction in his wake. Oh, man. This book got me hooked quickly and is well deserving of all the hype. I'm really glad I picked this one up and gave it a shot, and I'm looking forward to finishing the trilogy. All I have to say is you will not be disappointed. That is all. Wow. I did it. I did it.
You know what I got to say about that? The old Bane can't come to the phone right now. Why? Because he's dead. Oh! That's for all my Swifties out there. Yeah. Darth Bane's books are amazing. New Essential Legends collection is coming out, and maybe we're going to talk about that later in this show. Also, Blind Fates called me out in the chat. You know what? The release schedule for Utini is always updated, but my outline for the show is not. Tempest Runner does come out on March 15th, and Frank was on that. It has already been updated. on the Utini website. So if you're listening to our show, I appreciate you. But if you're going to trust anyone, put your trust in Frank and Trevor and everyone that it works in our database and timeline, because they are on track way more than I am. Thank you, Lando and Moonflyer, for those incredible reviews. Like Charles said, we're hitting the Fallen Star next week to see if it hit us like it did Lando. And Legends Look Back is doing an amazing job with their Darth Bane coverage. They just did Rule of Two recently, so go ahead back in this YouTube channel or in our podcast catcher, whatever app you're using, look up Legends Look Back and check that out as well. And whether it's those books or anything others, if you want your reviews on this very show, look up your book on utini.com, scroll to the bottom, give us a star rating and a little review, and we will try to read it on the show if we are able. Who is going to be the first Midnight Horizon review? Who knows? Can't wait. But what I can wait for is the next part of the show, because we're going to take a quick break. But when we get back, we are going to go through all the books that we have thus far coming out with release dates, because we have some rumors, but these are release dates we have going through the year 2022. We'll tell you what you got to know for them. We'll tell you what we're excited for, and we'll be back right after this. It's what Jimmy McGinty says Shane Falco needs.
Is absolutely
Charles is calling! Put him on! Put him on! Wait, is this the first time caller?
Hello, you are live on The Living Force.
Hey, long time listener.
Yes, what's your question?
My question is for Wes. Why does he think that he can do my job?
Corey put me up to it.
Oh my god.
Corey made you do it? That's your answer?
Oh, man, this was...
I'm enjoying the show. I won't interrupt anymore. Have fun.
Bye, buddy.
How canon is Darth Bane? Obviously, he is samurai body voiced by Mark Hamill since season 6 of the Clone Wars, and they reference Bane's order and all that. You created the rule of two, but this is the worst Yoda I've ever done. I'm getting tired. It's been a long week.
Is that what that was?
I
thought you were having a voice moment.
Yeah.
I didn't even get the
Coughing
word
fit.
structure right.
Oh, man.
Edit that in post, Rick. How canon?
You put this image in my head of Piet just whipping out an Uno reverse card and slapping it down.
Bam!
Take that.
Yeah, Vader does not play Uno though, so I don't think that would be a wise long-term
No,
discussion.
He doesn't have the patience for it. He just force chokes everybody.
Exactly.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Glad to have you back. Glad to see you. Good to see you, Tasu Leach. Also good to talk about the year 2022. Everyone, we are here. Tomorrow, as we said, starts the second month of the year, which means it's already time to get all those pre-orders in. Fellas, we've had some good Star Wars this month, right? We've got some Book of Boba Fett we've been having a good time with over on Bounty Hunt. We got The Fallen Star. But we got a lot of books to talk about that are coming out this year. So what we're going to do, we're going to go book by book as we go through the months. We're going to show you the Utini book profiles that have all your pre-order links and everything that you need on them. And we're going to chat about them briefly. And what better way to start than with the book that's literally coming out tomorrow, which is The High Republic, Midnight Horizon by Daniel Jose Older. Now, fellas, we got our rating earlier in the show, which I'm not going to say now because some people didn't want it spoiled. But before you knew the rating, at the beginning of this year, what were you most excited for about this book coming out? And let's tell people what they should make sure to read before they read this book, if anything. I can help with that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
you're
want to
welcome.
say yes. I want to say that I was just most excited to get DJO back in the game again because, like, I mean, we first he like bounced into the scene with what was the book he wrote?
Last
Shot?
Yeah, with Last Shot, man. That was early Utini days, man. Early Utini days when Last Shot came out. It was Book Box days, I think. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
We
it
were getting
was.
Book boxes
Keep
back in
bringing
the
it
day,
up.
man. And that was such a weird weird time for us.
Yeah.
And the book itself was just mind blowing. Like the villains were so good and creepy and gross and evil, and I loved it. He's really good at writing villains, right?
Dude, Peekpa, the Ewok slicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peekpa. I
Good
forgot
stuff.
about Peekpa.
Real strong character. I can't believe you remember that. How did you remember
There's
that?
an
Is it
Ewok
in your
slicer.
brain?
I was like, are you kidding me? Why is there an
You just pull
Ewok
that out of
slicer?
your brain? Holy crap! That's like 3 years ago. I can't even remember the plot of the book. You remember the character?
Nope.
Jesus.
Why do you guys think we do a plot synopsis at the beginning of every round table? That's not for you.
Corey.
We get it.
Corey.
I'm most excited to get some of these characters back. I mean, just straight off of the cover, like Comac and Reef, like that's such a just a cool image. And picking up where we last saw them, it was like a budding new relationship, but we kind of got to learn a lot about each of them individually. Now I'm hoping to get to learn more about them kind of as a pair, you know, as a master and Padawan unit, if you will.
Definitely. Wes, what are you most stoked for about this one? I know you still got Fallen Star to read in a week, but you got it. You've done more with less. But for Midnight Horizon, what's tickling your fancy about this book?
Well, I got to tell you, I really like the cover. It looks sick.
It's awesome, isn't it?
They're both looks like they're walking. It's like up some. I don't know what that is. Would that be like a? Would that be like a hangar, or when they have this giant monument behind them? But they both have their lightsabers on opposite sides of each other, so they have either coming back from kicking ass or they're going to a fight. I don't know, but I mean the cover looks amazing. If you had this like set up at Barnes and Noble on a table, which I hope they do. I mean, that would be the first thing you do is you want to pick it up and be like, wow, that is a great cover. I'm going to turn around the back and see the Utinis on the back as a review.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the cool things about Midnight Horizon as well is that you're getting characters both from Into the Dark, like Wreath, and then the Walmart cover, which we saw earlier this year, shows that we're getting characters like Ram Jamaram and Zine Morala, who, if you are a fan of the High Republic Adventures or Race to Crash Point Tower, Daniel Jose Older's kids book from Wave 2, you may know them. So, on that note, I highly suggest, before you read this book, you should read The Fallen Star. There are events that happen in Midnight Horizon that happen simultaneously with Fallen Star events, and to get the full weight, I would suggest having read it in the scope of Fallen Star, so you can really get that fully. And then, for other context, the main High Republic novels, Light of the Jedi, Rising Storm, probably have those. Into the Dark will introduce you to Wreath Silas. You probably don't need it, and Comac Vitus, who's on the cover, but I would recommend you get that just to get a little backstory. And then the big kicker for me on this book is the High Republic Adventures comic. We mentioned that Volume 2 is coming out on the 22nd of February, but if you read on Comixology, the first trade digitally, I think it's like $9, which I think is the first half of it. And then every issue, other than the most recent one, is like $2. So I think for somewhere around $20, $25, you can catch up with all of the High Republic adventures. And there's a lot of backstory with characters like Ram, characters like Zine, that really make Midnight Horizon deeper. And I think DJO, obviously the writer of both, you can tell how much he loves those characters he brought in. And one more fun fact, if you read the High Republic Adventures Annual #1, which was a longer issue where all the Luminous authors got to write a story within it, which is very fun, Daniel Jose Older introduced a character named Crash, who's actually based on the comic author Alyssa Wong. He got to write a character based on his friend in Star Wars, which has to be the best thing ever. But she actually plays a pretty prominent role in Midnight Horizon. So if you want to know anything about that character, kind of see what she looks like, check that out. Great question in the chat. We should be saying, yes, record. This is a YA novel. This is a young adult novel coming out tomorrow. Basic of basics. Read Light of the Jedi, Rising Storm, Fallen Star. Then this, if you want the next level, read those three, and then Into the Dark and Out of the Shadows for all the YAs. If you want really the best way to read this, read these. Read Race to Crash Point Tower so you can meet Ram, and then read the High Republic Adventures so you can meet some of the other awesome characters. But Daniel Jose Older does do a great job of introducing you to characters along the way. But that is your little reading package for tomorrow's Midnight Horizon. All right. One down, fellas. The next one, Charles, this next one is actually by one of your favorite writers, and I think your best friend in the world. Is that right?
Yeah, he doesn't know that yet, but eventually he will. The next book that's up here is The High Republic: The Battle for Starlight, and it's by none other than George Mann. And this is one of the young readers, and this is basically set within the events of the Fallen Star. I guess we don't know how far they might extend beyond that, because they may. But this is just one of those kind of nice supplemental reads if you're really one of those High Republic completionists.
Yeah, I don't have one in hand, but this is another one of the sticker books that he gets. That's like battle at the fair, disaster at the fair, whatever one, the last one that George did.
Right.
And then, so if you also are a fan of the stickers, if you want another Buryaga sticker, because you do, right? Don't you? I guess that's what I would suggest for this. And if you have kids that, some Padawans of your own that maybe aren't ready for the Fallen Star or something like that, but they want to see their favorite characters and things like that, it's a really great way to show kids really horrific mental trauma with pretty colors.
Okay.
Which I think is fun.
Or maybe this book also works for like 30-year-olds who like to show up to Zoom calls with like 7 stickers on their face, right, Eric? Just
attaboy. And Stephanie actually brings up the real point about these, where these books are actually a great visual aid. If you are a visual person, if you read the comics or not, this is going to be a great way to see some of the characters that are talked about in The Fallen Star in a visual sense. The illustrations are absolutely freaking gorgeous for all of these. They're more like, I don't know if cartoony is even the correct word for it, but they're really vibrant. They're really light colors. And weirdly, I'm having trouble figuring out who the freaking artist is. I feel horrible about this right now because George Mann is listed everywhere, but they don't feature the artist correctly. So when we get this, we have to put that up and let you all know who the artist is because they do a phenomenal job. Fellas, have you read any of the other sticker books for Light of the Jedi or Rising Storm, or did these passed you by?
I have not.
They have passed me by. I was getting them like review copies for a little bit there. I give them to my nephews and stuff like that. But I would flip through
that's
them and
perfect.
stuff, but I didn't read them super closely. I think the last one. One of the last ones that I read was the very first High Republic book that came out. The one that you put your stickers everywhere on, Eric.
Yeah, that are on my my phone charger and stuff.
That's the only one I've read. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're fun. It's $6. So if you want some stickers, you just want a nice little visual aid, like Stephanie was saying, to really get those points of the Fallen Star in, that comes out tomorrow, February 1st as well. All right, moving on. That's all we get for February. That's all we get. You get a 500-page young adult novel. Like, it's February. It's 4 weeks. Come on, it's a short month. But because of a publishing delay, we do have something coming March 3rd. Corey, what's finally dropping about 2 months late?
2 months late, we're finally getting High Republic Mission to Disaster by Justina Ireland. This one comes out on March 3rd. And this one is interesting. This is a junior reader book. It is, of course, like one of the High Republic books. Part of the series, and this is the one that got accidentally, maybe on purpose, released early, right?
Yeah, this was your new job is going to help fix this issue, I believe, when you start working for
Happy
Disney.
To help again, Corey. I'm available.
Yeah, this book was originally going to come out simultaneously with Fallen Star. Like Blind Fates in the chat says, weird to have read it already. The Kindle version and the Audible version did get released. This was delayed purely because of publishing. We know supply chain has been an issue. But if you're like me, and some other folks that wait for physical releases, this book is going to look something like this. These are the last two. A Test of Courage and Race to Crash Point Tower, with Justina Ireland and Daniel Jose Older wrote respectively. And this is the next book that features our girl, Vernestra Rowe. We love Vern. She's been kind of a standout character. I believe she won or almost won one of the High Republic brackets at our Discord channel. And this book is finally coming out. It takes place, I believe, before the Fallen Star chronologically. But fellas, there is a little nugget that Justina Ireland put out on Twitter at some point that there are going to be very important things about Phase 2 that are involved in this book. Now, does that fact make you want to pick it up, because the junior novels, some people skip over them, and it's all right. You can if you want. But I wonder what kind of phase 2 info there could be in this kind of book.
Phase 2, as in 150 years before
prequel.
phase 2.
That's the one.
That is interesting. That's like actually maybe a revealing piece of information just in general, right?
Yeah.
Like the phase 2 is gonna connect a little heavier to the phase 1 than. It's interesting.
I hope that is the case. And I have the copies of the first 2 junior readers, so I am definitely planning on picking this up. Once you start, you got to keep going. You read the first YA, you got to keep going.
Forever will it dominate your bank account? Yeah, I know. That's how it works.
I like how Justina Ireland gets to write Vern some more, because she first wrote it with the first YA novel. So, right? Didn't she just pick it up as a test of courage? So
Yep. That's what she started in. And Imri Kentaros, her now apprentice, is going to be in there as well. And shout out to Stephanie Mack, who just checked. These are all illustrated. There's illustrations in these books as well that are really gorgeous by Peter Antonsen, who also illustrated the first 2 sticker books, The Great Jedi Rescue at Showdown in the Fair. But The Battle for Starlight is illustrated by someone calling themselves, quote, Tomato Farm.
What?
I love it.
Okay.
Wes is pre-ordering immediately.
I love it.
But yeah, Peter Antonsen, let me pull this out here. Does some art for these young adult readers, or for these junior novels, and that's our boy Ram in the last one. And it's just really cool, fun art pieces like this that again keep building the visual language of the High Republic. So if nothing else, pick these up for that. They're less expensive than the YAs, less expensive than the adults, and they're really great, fun stories to go through. So that comes out March 3rd. Wes, I already messed this up once this episode, so can you correctly tell people what the next book is going to be?
The next book, or script, if you will, is it's going to be the High Republic Tempest Runner. So the audio book or audio drama came out last year about Lorna D as the Tempest Runner, but this is the script book now. So we have, much like Dooku,
Jedi Lost.
Dooku Jedi Lost.
Yeah.
Put out a script book so you could follow along with the audio drama. And this one, do the same thing. So going to utini.com for all your release pictures. We'll go ahead and check out kind of what it looks like. Look at that cover.
That's one of the cool things about the audio dramas too, being in script books, is that they always have this really rad cover art that I see in like this little square on my phone as I listen, which is like fine, but I love having it on the shelf.
Yeah, that helmet that
really
they have
just cool.
Put on her is a behemoth, man. That thing looks super. Like I'm glad I can just that one actually filters out toxins. The other ones don't.
Also, it's worth pointing out, you can kind of tell even just from the image here on our site, but these books, the dimensions are a little bit different than your typical hardback or your typical paperback. And so, once you have 1 or 2 of these, you got to pick up the rest, because then you need a whole section of your bookshelf that's books of that dimension.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Charles, because Wes, if you would be so kind, your normal hardcovers look something like this. This is Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. This is your typical hardcover dimensions. This is how it looks on your shelf. This is Dooku Jedi Lost. So this is just a little bit thinner because it's in a script format. See, we got a little bit of gap there. So when you put it on your shelf, if you do spine facing, it's going to look the same. It's going to look a bit thicker. But when you read it, it's going to be thinner, because rather than typical narrations and stuff, the pages look like this. If you haven't checked out our roundtables and audio dramas before, it's literally just a script. Character line. Italics are going to be the narration that was being read during the audio drama. So if you want to read things like this, or if you're like us and had a bit of difficulty deciphering between the voices during Tempest Runner, that's going to be really cool when these come out. Full disclosure, for the past 2 script books for Dooku and Aphra, I have done partial rereads when they've come out. I've gone back to some of my favorite sections and checked stuff out, but I've never done the full reread just reading the script book. Have you guys gone back and done this with any of the audio dramas?
I was kind of like you.
I own one.
Yeah, I picked it back up. I've listened to Dooku Jedi Lost 3 times, and the third time I tried to read it. I tried to read it back with the script book, but I kind of just I mean, I got busy. I like to cook while I listen to the audio dramas, so I can't have that open and and stir the stroganoff at the same time. You know what I mean?
Stirring your soup,
Make sure you stir the sauce.
Well, I'll tell you one other cool thing this one has. There's going to be a dramatis personae list of characters like Thrawn Ascendancy did in the front of this. So if you need that little bit of reference there, it's digital. You can find them for Tempest Runner, but it's going to be physical. And who knows, maybe you'll get a little Easter egg like this, where Kevin Scott dedicated this to Christopher Lee in the physical book. So maybe there'll be something like that in Tempest Runner. So,
well, and speaking of Easter eggs, I just got to say, I'm working through the Easter eggs for Fallen Star right now, and something just came up from Tempest Runner. So if you've not read it and you kind of want to know all the backstory, you want to learn all those things, consider picking it up.
Love that, man. All right, so that is the Ides of March, March 15th. Also my mom's birthday, so that'll be a good day.
Beware.
But then we move on to April 5th. On April 5th, we have 5 books coming out. It'll become clear why.
Oh, wow.
But just know that your Amazon charge is going to be extensive. But the first book that comes out on that day is the one that also got delayed, but I am so excited that it's finally coming out. It is the sequel to the Utini lauded paperback Queen's Peril. It is in fact Queen's Hope by E.K. Johnston, which is a young adult novel. It is the third and final book in E.K. Johnston's Padme trilogy. This takes place more so around Revenge of the Sith time. We got an excerpt earlier last year that got us some Anakin and Padme wedding action. We got Sabe being awesome in it. There's shenanigans all over. The handmaidens are back. Guys, this is definitely one of my most anticipated books of the year. Queen's Peril shot up for us. I mean, weirdly, this trilogy has somewhat defined our podcast in the last couple of years, which is weird to think about. But like for the Queen's Shadow to Queen's Peril, and then re-examining Queen's Shadow in the light of Queen's Peril, and then having Queen's Hope, I just really think this is going to be a great freaking book.
Yeah. This will officially break the curse of Queen's Shadow. Officially.
Yes.
Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah. We recorded it. How many times did we record the round
Three.
table?
Three
times.
Three round tables.
You guys are complaining about having to watch Rogue One again. We read that. we talked about that book 3 damn times. Right?
Also, anytime we brought it up, like a camera would go down. Like there was something that was going on. I want to point out that they recently didn't E.K. Johnston drop like the back cover art?
Yep. Yeah,
I
we showed that last week.
It's the best back cover since the Star Wars Episode 1 hardcover novelization. The one with young Anakin, because on the back, just to remind y'all, is a full headshot of Watto.
It's so big.
I think I brought this up on one of the earliest episodes of the Living Force ever, and I thought I'd bring it back.
Oh my God. Yeah, that threw me, Charles. I'm not gonna lie. The Watto face always makes me feel odd. But I who knows if we'll get Watto in this book. I mean, Sabe was going back to try to find Shmi in an earlier book. She's back stepping into the role of set editor while Padme's on a mission. We know that. We're gonna get some Clone Wars action. I do believe E.K. Johnston did say there's gonna be some Bail Organa shenanigans at some point. So this is gonna be a great one. April 5th. Apologies. April 5th. Check out this YA. But we also have 4 additional books that are coming out on April 5th. Charles, take your pick and tell us why all these 4 books are going to be very similar.
Okay.
Take your pick, Charles. Which one are you going to pick?
Which one do you want?
I'm on my toes, man.
If I squint through this list and I pick one totally at random with really no other thought put into it, I'm going to choose Kenobi by John Jackson Miller. And I want to point out that weirdly, apparently Star Wars publishing companies like Del Rey are they're celebrating Utini birthdays because April 5th is my birthday. And they're releasing 5 books, including the Essential Legends collection version of Kenobi. So I'm stoked about this. As you all know, one of my favorite Legends books that should be canon. I think a lot of people are going to pick this up with the upcoming TV show. I do hope they know that it is Legends, but we'll see how
Mhm.
much of it, gets pulled into the show and potentially gets made canon. But this is one of my favorite reads in all of Star Wars, Legends and canon combined.
Yeah, it's an astonishingly good book. And as we showed earlier in the show for the Darth Bane review, the book is not your mass market paperback size. You might own Kenobi in mass market paperback more than likely. If you shelled out a couple of bucks, you got it in hardcover. But these new trade paperback styles, what they're calling them, are a little bit bigger. They're all branded like this with the little black logo. They're all going to look like this on the spine with a little picture. And then the back is going to look like this. Very sleek, very modern-esque. And it looks like the same artistic style is being used for Kenobi. Absolutely gorgeous. And
Kenobi Picasso edition, if you will.
Yeah.
you know what? I will,
look at
Corey.
the-
I freaking will.
Look at that, man. Just straight up Picasso. Like, seriously, I love it. It looks really, really cool. And I'm still super excited about this. And I'm really excited for our fellow podcast hosts too, over at Legends Look Back. They get to talk about all these new books in this new light, because let's be honest, like, we're bringing in entirely new readers to these books by doing this, right? So that's like, there's people that have let like the Bane books like fall to the wayside. One, because the covers are trash from the old ones, and two, because they're Legends books and people are like, oh, Legends. But then when you see it labeled as Essential Legends Collection, like, that
It's
implies
essential.
a significant. Yeah, it
You
implies-
have to have it.
Right?
It can't.
Yeah.
I love that. I love
Well,
that.
Corey, speaking of great covers and things that we love, can you also pick a random book that's coming out on April 5th that might be an Essential Legends collection book?
Yep, closing my eyes and not picking anything at random. Darth Plagueis by James
Hey!
Luceno is the one that I'm going to pick. Really excited about this book.
That cover's
I
cool.
have to say, this is the first cover of any of the Essential Legends collections that I think I prefer the original for. I don't know why.
Well,
that
the OG
is.
is awesome. I mean,
It is.
It,
The OG
it looks
this
incredible.
This is one of the covers that the original cover wasn't bad, right? I mean, it was actually pretty dang good.
Yeah.
And but I do like that this book makes it more about Palpatine. Like, the cover makes it more about Palpatine,
Yes.
because he is like the greater character in the book. And I love this book. You guys know how much I love this book. I read this again, like, I don't know, what was that, like 4 or 5 months ago, and it like smoked me. It was so good. Like, I couldn't believe how utterly amazing this book is. Like, it is absolutely an Essential Legends collection. Like, absolutely essential. You have to read this. If you've never read Darth Plagueis, pick it up now with this edition.
Yeah.
It's also over on Legends Book Bag.
Pretty.
It's Freddie C's favorite canon book. So
That's right. That's right.
It is.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, this original cover is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you got Palpatine literally kneeling in front of this really imposing figure of Plagueis, and the back cover is Maul being
fantastic.
extensively awesome. So, obviously, you can pick it up wherever you want, but these Essential Legends collections, as Stephanie says in the chat, the quality of them, even just like for reading, like the flimsy nature of them, sometimes the mass market paperbacks, the covers get bent, and then especially if you carry them around in a backpack or something, they get destroyed really easily. These trade paperbacks are great for carrying. They're great for lending out. So if you got a friend, like Corey's saying, that maybe they've never read Plagueis, read it yourself, get your awesome Essential Legends collection, and then gift it to somebody and say, hey, maybe give them 6 other books first. And then you could say, hey, maybe you should read Darth Plagueis. So yeah, Corey and Charles are both eating, and we're getting the Padme book I want, Charles's favorite Kenobi character, one of Corey's favorite Legends books, all on the same day. Wes, there's 2 other books that are coming out that day. Which one do you think is going to be pretty cool?
well, I'm gonna pick the one that I've read, and I'm going to pick Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil.
Oh, the Dynasty, yes!
Dynasty.
So
Wesley.
the Dynasty of Evil is the 3rd book of the Darth Bane trilogy. So they have done, the Essential Legends collection has done all 3 books. So, and changed all 3 covers. I wonder why. But this cover in itself, I don't know. Do you like this cover more than the original cover? Yeah.
Then all the Bane books, no question.
Come on.
Well, let's see, Wes. We have that. Here we go. Here, we'll get this nice and centered here. Look at this baby.
Nice and centered.
Oh, you got
We'll
it.
both
It's not
do
bad.
it.
It's not bad.
really
Mine's a little
Actually,
glossy because
just-
I got mine from the library.
Oh, you gotta cut that off.
It bothers me.
Yeah, this one is fine. You got Bane and Xana
okay.
on it.
It's okay.
I think it's cool, but the minimalist, like sketchy art style of these are just so cool, and the fact that it's consistent between all three books,
Yeah.
I think is great. And I mean, let's be honest. If you're already buying Path of Destruction and Rule of Two, there's no way you finish Rule of Two and say, "I think I'm done."
Yeah.
think
What
I'm
are you, a
good.
monster? You just put you in a white straitjacket and send you to the ward.
Yeah, no, you are done.
So I have a good buddy of mine is having a birthday party in a couple of weeks, and he has no idea that I'm going to come because it's like I think it's a surprise party. But
that's cool.
I'm going to bring him a Star Wars book, and I was thinking, which Star Wars book would I bring him? Because he doesn't read. I don't think he reads books, let alone Star Wars.
He can't read.
books.
That's fine. Yeah.
But I was thinking about the one that's a book that's a page turner that you absolutely cannot put down, and I was like, you know what? I think Path of Destruction. If I start him out with Path of Destruction, where
That's
he's
a good
just
one.
like, I feel a movement. I need to go to the toilet, and he's like, I'm gonna start reading something. Maybe I can
Yep.
get him.
I
I can get him going on Path of Destruction.
Perfect.
I think some of the there's a reason the Bane books are in our foundational 5.
Mhm.
So we're revisiting that this year, and
We
if,
are.
Eric, you were kind of in charge of that project. If you try to take the Bane books out of the foundational 5, I'm firing your ass. Like there's no way that's
Corey,
gonna
Corey,
happen.
Corey, please do not interfere with my committee and my project.
Oh my God.
This is my project
out.
for my team.
Get out.
Please do not try to intimidate us with your position of power. I'm going to report you to the president, who is
Hold
myself.
on.
to the president.
So
How about
if-
you report me to HR, my wife?
That's right, your wife.
So the foundational 5. What if? Can you only pick one of the trilogy? Can you pick all three?
Yeah, you start
and
with
you're-
one. No.
Yeah, I mean, you
Pick
start with
all
one.
three
I mean,
and then
yeah.
you-
So we've joked about that before. Like the foundational 5 is like not actually 5. It's actually like what 9 or something. Like
Yeah,
it's
something
more-
like that.
It's more than that. But listen, the Bane books are a really good choice. I think.
Yeah.
Which seems crazy. I think people. Because we talked a lot, like we don't recommend you read Plagueis first as your first Star Wars book ever, and that's a common thing that people say on forums and stuff. Go read Plagueis, and we actually don't recommend that, but we do recommend Bane, right? Which I think is a very interesting idea because it's also a really old book. It's like Legends, and it's like old as in on the Star Wars timeline old, right? Like
Yeah.
it's Old Republic, but I still stand by that. I think starting with the first Bane book is a surefire
just
way to
fine.
get somebody hooked
Yeah.
on Star Wars books.
I
because that
completely
book
agree.
is So rich. It is so
Yep.
rich. Like it is very hard to put down. So much really great character building happens in his origin story. The whole first third of the book has nothing to do with the Sith. He's just like a miner on this
No, he's just a
planet.
dude.
Yeah.
It's just
It's so
incredible.
good.
Just
Feels
getting
like-
into bar fights.
Yeah. Just
Exactly.
feels like
Bar
Hey,
fight.
I
literally.
could be that dude. Like,
Then he,
do I have these
joins
powers?
the military
Yeah.
and all his military stories are in there. It's just like you got to read
And,
it. It's such a good
by the
book.
time you get to Dynasty of Evil, which again you're going to pick up, you have to April 5th till it comes out, so you got a couple months to read the first two. I mean, the depth of power that Bane shows off is just mammoth, and it's just so cool. And if you are reading the Bane books for the first time, I would honestly recommend that you give it some time. Wait till April 5th. Get this. Have all three Essential Legends collections buy together. They're gonna look fresh. They're gonna look clean, and you really just have a fantastic time. Which of course leads us to our final book that's coming out on April 5th, which is another series book. It is Wedge's Gamble by Michael Stackpole, which is the second book in the now dubbed Rogue Squadron series. Has this incredibly clean cover of our pilot, who may or may not be Wedge, with a Rebel fighter helmet on. I believe this is the last thing that Andrew Bell sees before he closes his eyes to sleep every single night. It releases April 5th. If you like the first book in the now Rogue Squadron series, these are your Legends fighter books. If you like Alphabet Squadron, these are the things you love. But Wes, I wanted to say, while you're on this page, we have not pointed this out to people. Would you please click on where it says part of the Essential Legends Collection series? Can you click on that hyperlink? Because people may not know, if you're on Utini and you want to see all the Essential Legends books that have come out and are coming out, we have this all on this one page. So if you want to order all of these Essential Legends collections to get all these covers that are the same branding, they're the same size, they're awesome covers, you can go right here. You go to see all the books in the series. You click see more. It'll take you to all their individual pages. So I want to highlight Wedge's Gamble for the purpose of it being the next book that's coming out. But as this goes on, that page will always be updated, and you will always be able to find all your Essential Legends books right from that page. So we haven't said that a lot, and I wanted to point that out. And yeah, Wedge's Gamble, I think it's cool. I didn't read it. I only ever read the first X-Wing book. It wasn't quite my
good.
Wasn't quite my deal. I've heard they're amazing.
Wedge's Gamble is when it really picks up. I feel like as the whole series does. I do wish they would just release like 3 of the X-Wing books at one time though with the Essential Legends.
It's gonna be a while.
I know. I mean, because like, are we gonna be? I mean, how many books is it? Is it 9?
Well, they'll probably skip the Wraith Squadron books. They'll probably do all the Rogues and they'll do all the Wraiths, is what I would assume.
That's probably true. That's a big series, so I don't know. I wanted to
Rogue
read them
Squadron
back to
first.
back, and you can't. So,
all right, but that gets us out of April. So April 5th, you get 5 books in that month. So relax, you're fine. It's April.
Time.
You got time.
We're doing roundtables on all of them. Same night.
All from memory.
Look back, sure, Mike. But in May, we do get back to our next. This is an adult novel from Del Rey and Charles. You had your birthday on April 5th, but I think you also get a birthday on May 10th.
Yeah, I think I do, because on May 10th, Brotherhood by Mike Chen is coming out. And this is a book that we kind of laughed a little bit about when the cover art first came out. There was some discourse online, if you will, that maybe this wasn't the strongest entry.
I'm very excited for the Essential Legends collection version of Brotherhood.
Yes.
and might I interject, Charles, that your birthday fell on April 5th for Kenobi. My birthday falls on May 10th for Brotherhood.
No way!
This is weird.
This is insane.
How odd.
Well, the next book on our list is June 7th, and mine's June 6th.
Oh,
doesn't count.
We're getting ahead.
Well, regardless, I was once told you can't judge a book by its cover. I don't think that's very common saying, but someone told me that once, and that is probably the case with this novel. Because
I really hope so.
No, it has to be, because this is supposedly telling the story of whatever went down on Kid and Neimoidia that is referenced in the prequel trilogy, right? Whatever business doesn't pause for effect doesn't count. That is supposedly the story being told in this. It is Obi-Wan being sent on some mission, Anakin following him when he was told not to, because that's such an Anakin thing to do. And if I remember correctly, there's some other character, another like youngling that's mixed into things that we don't know much about. But Mike Chen has come out with some pretty interesting information about like prerequisite reading for before you get to Brotherhood, and he named some heavy hitters that supposedly he was really influenced by for this book.
Yeah, we had Revenge of the Sith. He talked about the novelization that Wes will never read. And he talked about some other ones. And today, he actually, here, Wes, pull up that image from today if you would. He had a tweet that he put out today about some interesting ties. He says, "I'm just saying, Queen's Hope has some ties to Brotherhood and takes place immediately before my book. E.K. Johnston and I did some homework to sync things up," which is the best part about Star Wars, right? When authors literally like pass the baton to each other.
That's so cool. I love that. It makes it feel like we're reading one giant series rather than a bunch of disconnected books, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And this will be cool. You get a whole month from Queen's Hope to literally get Padme and Anakin doing whatever they're going to do in that book. And then you get Brotherhood for Anakin coming off of that. Emotionally, you'll know where he is. And then you'll get to have that with him and Obi-Wan. And come on, the Anakin Obi-Wan book is something that we've all been wanting. I mean, we got some stuff like Record says in the chat. We got the Canon Neimoidia Storia Neimoidia. So they were in Astoria in the beginning of Labyrinth of Evil and Legends. So we got a little bit of that. This is expanding that. We get a lot more Clone Wars stuff. I love how deeply we're diving into Clone Wars with these books. And I think based on Mike Chen's track record with From a Certain Point of View, his stories in there, he did the Palpatine story, I believe, in Empire Strikes Back, which was dark and incredible. And it really just seems like it's going to be something to witness. So I think that's going to take over our lives pretty distinctly in May 10th. That is also the month of Star Wars Celebration, if it's still happening. So, I mean, the amount of Star Wars fever that may be happening right around there, we still don't know the Kenobi release date. Like, May could be big, is what I'm saying. It's the week after May the 4th. could be big. Could be big. Very excited for Brotherhood. Corey, sorry it's not your birthday, but it's close. What's coming up on June 7th?
My birthday is June 6th. June 7th, we're getting Stories of Jedi and Sith. And this is a junior reader's book. It's kind of interesting. The cover is really cool.
Jake
Really
Bartok, shout out.
Yeah, Rebels-esque looking Darth Vader on the cover.
Very much so.
Yeah. Jedi's Stories of Jedi and Sith. I don't really know a whole lot about this book, other than it's like, I imagine it's just a bunch of short stories. Is what it looks like. Doesn't the description have something about it being? Oh yeah, here we go. A bunch of short stories. Let's see. I'll just go through the characters we're getting short stories for. We have Rey, Obi-Wan, and Anakin, Asajj Ventress. Actually, you know what? Let me read the authors too, because some of these are big name authors. So we're getting a Rey short story by Roseanne A. Brown. Obi-Wan and Anakin by I don't know how to say this.
Sarwat Shada, I believe. They did From a Certain Point of View.
Okay. Asajj Ventress by Delilah S. Dawson. Written a bunch of cool stuff. We haven't seen her in a little bit.
It's been a while for her, yeah.
The Phasma book, that's exciting. Emperor Palpatine story by Tessa Groton, I want to say.
Yep, who just got added to the High Republic team. She's doing the YA book with Justina Ireland, so this is her first Star Wars.
We have a Yoda story by Michael Kage. Is that how you say that? Kage?
I think so.
Kage?
I think so.
Eric is our residential understand how to pronounce everybody's
pronunciation
name.
person, yeah.
You hang out with all these folks on Twitter, so you know them all much better than the rest of us do. Luke Skywalker story by Sam Maggs. Darth Maul story by Michael Moreci. Moreci. Okay, I remember Michael now. Qui-Gon Jinn by Alex Segura. Darth Vader by Vera Strange. Barriss Offee. Story by Karen Strong.
Ooh,
so
a Barriss Offee story.
Yeah, that's exciting. Bunch of fun short stories. This will be interesting. It's a young readers or a junior readers book, right? So this is a little bit
like
below,
the Clone Wars one we got that had all those what was it? Stories of Light and Dark. I think this is the next.
Right.
Okay.
With Rex on the front, that's a good cover too.
Yeah, that was. These are fun too. I mean, they have sort of almost a bedtime-esque story vibe to them.
For sure.
But like they tell very, very obvious canon lore in them. So they're fun to read through once, particularly if you have kids, especially.
Oh, yeah. And it's also fun because you get to get a little taste of these new writers. Like we said, Tessa Gratton's joining the High Republic. Delilah S. Dawson has been gone for a bit. She actually had a book called The Violence of her own that's coming out. I believe I pre-ordered it. It shipped today, so it's coming out soon. But then we have people like Michael Moreci, who we talked about, that did a bunch of comics work. Alex Segura did Poe Dameron and Freefall. Karen Strong did some From a Certain Point of View stuff. And then Sam Maggs, who does a Luke Skywalker story, is actually, I believe, the lead writer on the KOTOR remake. So we got all these people that are involved in Star Wars stuff. And who knows if these will be stories that we know. Who knows if these will be all new stuff. But I'm honestly mostly excited for Jake Bartok getting the art duties, because dude has been one of our favorite fan artists for forever. We were talking about him in Cantina Talk this week in our Slack channels about his Clone Wars art and his medieval Star Wars stuff, and the fact that a fan artist got to draw well enough to be contracted by Disney Lucasfilm to do this is really super fun. But yeah, like Corey said, if you got some younglings, you got some bedtimes, or if it's your bedtime, I don't judge you. You want to read a nice little Star Wars story before bedtime? That sounds perfect.
You don't have to yell at him.
I'm going to, hey, read a book before bedtime. Put your phone away, get rid of the blue light, and read a book.
Put your phone away. Read a book.
Put your phone away. Oh, all right, Wesley. I did it again. I don't know about this episode. I'm not feeling good about it. I'm sorry, man.
Okay. As long as you don't call me by my middle name, too, and tell me to come in for dinner, then it'll be all right.
All right, that's fair. I won't do that. So, what are we ending June with?
ending June 28th. Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher. So it's one of, if not the best cover we've seen so far. So it's
not the final cover.
Not the final cover.
Oh, I love cover not final. They're my favorite artist.
What was the joke on Twitter? I think that, well, I'm not sure if it was this one or not. It's like, is this the final cover? And then somebody had responded back with something witty.
Yeah. It's like the latest in the series of the cover not final books.
Yeah. So yeah, this is I think this I was reading this earlier before the show started. So this is between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. And I was trying to figure out where I stick this book. Do I put it in the original trilogy? Do I put it in the sequel trilogy? Or do I put it pre-sequel trilogy?
So you buy a new shelf.
I couldn't figure it out. So yeah, it's a story with Luke Skywalker and Lando Calrissian, and they're like searching for something. I didn't really get into the synopsis.
They're searching for stuff.
But I mean, it's all about what happened on the Rise of Skywalker. So you're looking for Ochi of Bestoons.
Yep, we see Ochi Bestoon in here.
But remember that Lando in that movie had said, yeah, Luke and I had followed Ochi all the way to this planet, and so they're kind of picking up. I think it's beforehand, but it's still picking up for that Lando and Luke are together and they're off on missions, and that Exegol is involved. So I can't wait to pick this up because there's a lot of stones unturned, if I should say that, in this type of environment with the Rise of Skywalker. So there's a lot of details that they can place in these novels to help us, fill in some things that we were looking for.
Yeah, and as someone who loves Rey so much, I mean, Rey is all over this this publisher summary. I mean, Ochi Bestoon is hunting Rey and her parents by orders of Palpatine, and so the fact that we had the Rise of Skywalker establishing that lets this book kind of be a little more obvious, right? A little more blunt. And the behind-the-scenes stuff, Adam Christopher was originally announced to be writing a Mandalorian book, and that got shelved for reasons we don't know, and then they moved him onto this project. So it's really cool that apparently that draft was good enough that they're like, cool, just write a completely other book. We liked your writing enough that we will keep
I'm sure
you
you
on.
love that, by the way. Like,
yeah. Hey,
Just
you probably
hold
got
on
the
to that
advance.
book.
I hope you got the advance on that.
Oh man, I hope Rey dons the cover of this book. That would be fantastic.
It would be awesome. I would suggest, we haven't talked a lot about prerequisite reading for these other books, because other than the High Republic stuff, you're kind of, and the Queen's Hope, obviously, read the first two. This one, it sounds kind of like you might want to read the Aftermath books if you hadn't already. I mean, as far as stuff we have about the New Republic, post Return of the Jedi, that trilogy is kind of what we have so far in canon. The publisher summary says this takes place nearly 2 decades after the Battle of Endor. So we're a little bit past it, but the Aftermath trilogy tells you a little bit of the fallout. It tells you a little bit about some characters that are parents of people we see in the sequel trilogy. It tells you a little bit about what happened to the Empire. It tells you a little bit about some other characters that maybe, I don't know, they might show up in this book. That'd be cool. But if you're looking for something to maybe get a primer on this era, those are the books I would go to. And I agree with our chat here. With what Blind Fate said, I cannot wait for whatever this cover is going to be.
Mhm.
Wes, if it has like a young Rey, that'd be amazing. But getting post Return to the Jedi Luke, I'm really excited. I mean, we've seen him in flashbacks in the Rise of Kylo Ren comic, I think. But other than that, in the Battlefront 2 campaign, he had a mission. But other than that, I mean, Luke Skywalker in his like Jedi Master Prime. Woo! I'm real stoked.
Yeah. So is he teaching a group of Padawans at the same time? We don't know because we haven't read the book yet. Okay.
He's on sabbatical. He's on sabbatical for a year. He's just taking some time. All right. Well, hey, you teed us up well for our final book we know of with the concise release date this year. It is, in fact, called Padawan. It's written by Kirsten White. This is a YA novel coming to you in July. It's July 26, 2022 at this point. This is a young adult novel that focuses on Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi and his master Qui-Gon Jinn. That's right, we finally get a coming-of-age story of Obi-Wan. We've all wanted this since we saw Ewan with that sweet, sweet rat tail. And now we're going to get young Obi-Wan off on a mission. Qui-Gon seems like he's a little too busy for his Padawan, so there's some angst in there. Is Obi-Wan going to go off and try to test his skills by himself? I mean, stories of young Jedi are always great. I think the YA genre is great for that. I think it's a great way to explore that teenage angst with lightsabers and Force abilities. And it's Obi-Wan. I mean, ideally, this will be in the midst of or after the Obi-Wan show is done, so we'll all be really... We'll feel like Charles every day. We'll just want more Kenobi content, I think, at that point. But Charles, I want to ask you. So we got 2 Obi-Wan novels coming out, 3, including the Essential Legends collection. How does this one rank in hype for you versus something like Brotherhood?
I mean, it's close. I think it's close. I think a big part of the Obi-Wan story that I really love is his relationship with Anakin. So Brotherhood still does edge this out for me, but this, I think I mentioned this when they first announced both of those books, Padawan and Brotherhood. They both have like that feel of some of those prequel era Legends books that came out. And I still enjoy going back and revisiting those and reading those to this day. So I'm really excited that even though we're spending a ton of time with the High Republic and all these other eras, that they really are giving us something from like every single era, but maybe even a little bit more than a little bit more prequel than anything else. So that makes my prequel baby heart happy.
Prequel babies are eating this year. I mean, go watch our last episode of Bounty Hunt. No spoilers here if you want to see just how hard the prequel kids are having a good year, for sure. But yeah, I mean, obviously we're gonna get more books. The High Republic Phase 2 starts in October. We don't have any confirmations of that yet. I doubt they'll let us go August, September with 0 Star Wars releases. They like to just drop stuff on us. But for these titles we went through... Go ahead.
It's the first time in a couple of years, too, we haven't gotten a Thrawn book. That's also kind of interesting.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
They only gave us up till July, man. They still got 5
trilogy by December.
I know,
oh, these 700 pages?
That's right. Timothy Zahn did sort of hint that he didn't have another contract in the works, unless he just is a good liar. But he's more of a guy that doesn't say anything rather than saying something like that. Right. So I would say that's probably true.
You just see him at a convention and you just shout at him, liar! Hey! He's like, I know, but
no, I think we're safe there. Well, absent Thrawn, surprising us all, and absent the High Republic Phase 2 coming up, let's go around and just say, I want to know, what are you most excited for, and what do you think might be the biggest surprise of this year? We're going to have some double ups, obviously, but Charles, let's start with you. What's hyping you out the most, and what do you think might just sneak its way into your brain?
Yeah, so hands down, what I'm most excited for is Brotherhood. I think I have thoroughly explained why that is, not just on this episode, but every appearance I've ever had on this show. And probably the biggest surprise, I think it's got to be Shadow of the Sith, just because that is going to pull in a lot of, well, it's going to pull some eras together. It's going to flesh out a lot of stuff that I think are still questions that we have related to the sequel trilogy and kind of that gap between the original and the sequel trilogy. So I'm excited for that one. I think it's going to give us more than we're probably ready for.
Love that. Corey?
Man, I don't know really how to pick one that's on this list. Like there's so many books that are coming out this year that are really exciting. I think the one that stands out to me that I'm looking forward to concluding like a series with is Queen's Hope, right? Like, I mean,
whoa!
Yeah. I don't think I would have picked this one like 3 years ago. But
no,
like,
how the turntables around the other foot. Look at that.
It is very true. Very true. Listen, man, Utini and the community that we have is just like, and us doing this thing has really taught me how to find things to appreciate in books, like, and like, I don't know, man. Like, I just love how much like Phantom Menace has risen in my mind in the last couple of years from these books. And I'm just like, I look forward to watching them. I used to really vocally dislike the Phantom Menace. I don't know if you guys knew that about me. Like, I used to talk about that with my friends. Like, Phantom Menace sucks. I was like kind of a prequel hater in some ways. Like when I was much younger, right? And like these books have just have absolutely suppressed what little tiny amount of that was still left in me. Like it's hard to get rid of those thoughts and stuff, right? So I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for E.K. Johnson to conclude this trilogy. I think she's really had a cool impact on the canon saga. I think like this like kind of by women for women attitude that these books have has been really, really rad. I'm excited about it. Also, Utini is on a freaking Padme book, and that is awesome.
That does help.
That's right. Exactly.
What a beautiful thing. Gives me chills just thinking about it. All right, but what's gonna surprise you? Damn it, Charles!
I thought his camera was frozen.
Oh my god!
Sorry, this is just Watto judging Corey for his prequel hate back in the day.
That's right. All right, well here we'll do this then.
money.
Corey, what's your biggest surprise of the year?
A
What's
biggest
gonna surprise you the
surprise
most?
of the year? Oh man, I don't know. I don't even know how to answer this question.
It's a surprise, which is tough.
I think the unknown is gonna be the big surprise of the year. Like what we don't
Sure.
know. Yeah, I mean, there's
Good
a
answer.
very noticeable giant gap of the second half of the year, and I don't know that we've ever had this far in advance of like we don't know anything about the 2nd half of the year. Like that's
I like
that's
that
only,
answer, Corey. That's a big
6
brain
months away?
answer.
I like
How
that's a
can
big
we
brain
not be
answer.
surprised by that which we don't know?
That's some Yoda right.
what you have learned.
All right, dang. All right, Wes, bring. Let's bring us down again.
Oh.
That's 4D chess right there.
I'm surprised by this young adult book. Yeah, here. All right, move on.
All right. Wes, what can't you wait for? What cover can't you wait to crack
I
open?
am definitely most excited for Shadow of the Sith. There is so much that we don't know with what the events leading up to the Rise of Skywalker, and seeing just like actions and stories with Luke if maybe he's teaching his Padawans. If young Rey is there, that's what I'm most interested about. And then there's the Sith, like the secret Sith, and the Sith on Exegol, and there's so much that went into that damn movie that I don't know about, and I hope this book kind of clears some of that up. So
Yeah.
that's definitely what I'm most excited about. But what I think is the biggest surprise, I think it's going to be Queen's Hope. And I don't think it's actually a surprise. I know it's going to be really good, and it's going to make me want to watch the prequel trilogy 100 times over again, because that's all those books have ever done, is like make me think like, oh, it's like I have to follow along with the movies when I read the book, because there's all these little details that are in those books that just make me, want to. Well, we have to do a Revenge of the Sith commentary, do we not? So that's
we do.
So that's gonna be perfect. And be like, well, that's the part where that happened in Queen's Hope, remember? And then we can't say that because it's gonna spoil it. Okay, never mind. We're not gonna do any of that. So, guess we'll hold on.
Solid picks, of course. Before I give mine, I want to shout out Stephanie in the chat saying, agreeing that we need more Thrawn, especially after Ascendancy, but she's looking forward to Shadow of the Sith, and agrees that the second half will be dominated by the High Republic. They did announce the Insider Fiction Collection for the High Republic short stories, which our Legends friends have been covering. The Insider Fiction Collection has been the short stories from the magazines they've been collecting into hardcover collections. If you have not been able to get the High Republic short stories, those will be coming out later this year in that version, so that'll be great. For myself, I'm going to agree my most anticipated is also Queen's Hope. I mean, I have not been shy about my love, especially for Sabe and Bale. That trilogy has completely revolutionized the way I think about those books, the way I think about the character Padme. It put her above Leia in my mind. It made her such a strong, incredible character for me now every time I watch those books. And I think the Clone Wars really got me on board with her and Anakin's relationship. So if we can take that passion from Queen's Peril, Queen's Shadow, and apply that to their relationship even more in Queen's Hope, it's just going to send me through the roof. And I think it's going to do for the Clone Wars episodes what Queen's Peril did for the Phantom Menace, which I think is great because I already love those. That'd be great. I do think, obviously I'm excited for all of these, let's be clear. But I think the biggest surprise might be Padawan. I think that's one I really don't know what it's going to be yet. I think in a good way, the summary and everything like that is a little vague, which is fun. It's like it's young Obi-Wan on an adventure, and Qui-Gon's in it. Love whenever Qui-Gon shows up. Master and Apprentice, it's still one of my favorite canon novels of all time. So taking that pairing and de-aging them a bit and putting them on another adventure together and having Obi-Wan figure that stuff out, I think it's really going to be cool. I think it's going to sneak up on us, especially after having read Brotherhood, after having seen Kenobi. I think I'm just going to be really emotionally primed. I think it's going to devastate us in a really, really great way. And then, of course, Phase 2 comes up, and we go back in time with the High Republic, which I will guarantee will be a show later this year once we get cover art, once we get synopses. And of course, to remind everybody, as the year goes on, for the adult and young adult novels we mentioned here, not the Essential Legends collection, which again, check out Legends Look Back on Thursday nights. They'll be talking about those, I'm sure. We will be doing roundtables for these. We'll be bringing you previews as we can, so make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, on your podcast catcher to get ready for those. And next week, that's right, February 7th, we will be live with part 1 of our Fallen Star Roundtable. We'll be giving our scores. We'll be going through the characters. Charles has putting together the questions. You know them. You love them. Can't wait. Tomorrow at noon Eastern, come back to this YouTube channel, check out the Midnight Horizon video review, and check out Utini.com for our full written review of the latest from Daniel Jose Older. It's going to be a cool year in Star Wars books. Last year was cool. This year is cool. I think every year is just cool now. I think that's where we are. That's what we're going to live in. And before we go, I do want to say thank you to everyone in the chat tonight for showing up. I hope these Monday nights are as fun for you as they are for us. I love seeing all your comments about what you're looking forward to, about what you're reading, and even if you guys kind of talk back and forth and disagree with things or correct us on things, whatever it is, I love all of you being here. Stephanie, you called off work for both these roundtables. Amazing. Yes. Cannot wait to see you. We hope we do you proud. We love nothing more than doing this every single Monday night. We are now going to have a meeting where we're all going to crack yet another drink and come up with show topics for the rest of the year to make sure y'all still love The Living Force. In the meantime, go to our release schedule. All these books are on there with updated dates. Get those pre-orders in at Amazon, Books A Million, Bookshop, whatever you want. Wherever you click through on there, it helps out the site, helps Utini going. We can't wait to talk to you later this year about these books. But my friends, that'll do it for this week's episode of The Living Force. If you support us on Patreon, thank you so much for that. We're going to re-record that Rogue One for you very soon. The audio will be good, and the movie's perfect, so sorry, spoiler. A special thank you goes out to OK Endar, Jeremy Kazina, JG Kars, Earl Q, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, and Matt Billington, Tyler Latour, Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Freddie C., and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command for your amazing support. You can find us on Twitter. The show is at Living Force Pod. I'm at Eric Eilerson. Corey is at Doc Star Wars MD. Charles is at C. Henkel. And Wes is at Boss Wes. A special thank you to Matt Davenport, our amazing editor. Ryan, our graphic designer extraordinaire. And Wes, our producer and community manager. Thank you to Corey, Charles, and Wes for podcasting with me tonight. Thanks to all of you for being in the chat and hanging out. And as always, may the Force be with you.